Yo, yo, what up? It's Monday. Welcome to Clonespiracies. Let's get off that elevator music and play something with some class. Make it to Mount Everest. Not the top, maybe the top, but I just want to see it. I feel like seeing it would probably do it justice. Maybe we make it to the landing on the front. You know, I think the base camp, the base of the mountain, that would probably be an acceptable place to be, in my opinion. Yeah. So I'm sitting here. I'm just going to scroll through the chat. If you'd like to jump on any topics, feel free to request. Just going to pin some stuff and then kind of go through it. It has been a quiet week, as I think we all know. So we'll see where we go tonight. So I guess I got three things, and after that, um, we're gonna need more topics. That's kind of that's where we're at. We deep dove Artifact and Pokemon and a potential collaboration there last Friday with Menic and Nex, both from Europe, and they had amazing concepts and thoughts. And we actually had a nice recorded discussion, I might add, where we deep dove that topic, and it was a lot of fun, very interesting. That space is pinned up top. Manic actually made a really cool, I think they're called thumbnail or album cover I like album cover. So it is a singular space, but it has a really great album cover. And Menick created that, brought it to life. You can see the branding of Pokemon and Animus, and it's Lime. So we love it. So he kind of brought that to life, which I think is great. It's about an hour discussion, great for a nice car ride. Yeah, it's kind of interesting too, because like the TLDR on it. And I'm curious if anyone has thoughts on this, honestly, because it was an interesting shift that I didn't actually see coming. So it was funny because we talked for an entire hour on why Artifact and Pokemon are collaborating on Project Animus. And then basically Johnny comes up for the last 5-10 minutes and just destroys it. And then we all basically wrap this space by saying, hey, you know what? We don't want Pokemon. We want Artifact to continue on this journey independent of Pokemon in that sense, and, push forward because we think that this stuff could be bigger and cooler than an outdated giant like Pokemon. They did great for a number of years, but apparently the innovation in today's world, it's just not there. So the general consensus, at least last Friday, was that Artifact can do this on their own, and it can be bigger and it can be better than Pokemon, which, if that ain't pure hopium, I don't know what is. And, it really gets you excited if you think about the possibilities that Artifact has and is presenting us via CloneX and Animus for digital companions, digital fashion models, avatars. Like, if CloneX is Ash Ketchum and like Animus is the egg that actually evolves based on, our digital footprints, that would be the absolute craziest thing, because we could actually make Pokemon an actual reality in today's world using, currently the Ethereum network. But the second you got to pay another $100 for gas, I'm pretty sure mainstream adoption ain't gonna come. That might have been a sign, y'all, when we were paying hundreds minimum in gas fees, that this was not going mainstream. Because as soon as you get out of that mentality, it's like, wow, $25 for gas. I'm gonna wait for that to go down again. So I don't know. Anyway, that's Ethereum based Pokemus, which would be Artifact's new Project Animus, which is the future IP. I don't know. I think it's dope. Totally for it. Love it. Want to evolve a little. Hopefully a dragon of some kind, but like, who doesn't want to evolve a little dragon? Um, Something fun. Liv Toven made a Clonespiracys themed smartwatch and has actually put out an entire tutorial, which I still have to work through myself, but I totally plan on. She put out a tutorial on how to actually like rig the watch to then work with your clone in clone tools. So that's super exciting, just from like the basis of, we can create our own assets, we can rig them to our avatars, to our files, and then we can pose them and render out different frames. Um, that that's pretty sweet. I actually made an animation today, my first one ever. It's 1 second, and I got my clone sitting there punching, but it looks pretty good, and like, it wasn't terrible to do. Keyframes are cool, and that auto keyframe thing is amazing. So I know it's heavy, but no, I didn't say Tevi. I said it's heavy. Kind of sounds like Tevi. The auto keyframer is heavy, but I think in time, fine tuning and actually making a scene, very doable. But wow, time consuming, because throwing one punch took me a couple hours. Ha! So I think it probably gets faster as we get better with it, but definitely takes a minute to figure that one out. Um, and yeah, so I wanted to plug Liv Toven's thing there. If you're willing, like, retweet Liv Toven's tweet, if you will, comment on it. Like, let's get people using the smartwatch, using this tutorial to learn how to rig a community-based file onto your CloneX avatar, and then you can drop renders with it. And it's like, just because it's a watch and maybe you don't want to watch, like this is applicable to literally anything that you can create, whether it's a Glob Studios mug, whether it's, something different, like this is cool. So I encourage everyone to support Liv. She's been in the spaces since the beginning, literally. On that note, this is the 11-month anniversary of this space. And if you remember that, Anya, we were out there. Anya was on the very first one, y'all. It was her, me, and Kaiba, and maybe he who shall not be named, I guess. So, like, yeah, we kind of made this fun space. We were just kind of having a vibe of a time, and it was cool. And that was 11 months ago, which is just shocking to think about, just the difference in time and space and all of these different experiences. So anyway, wanted to say support Livtoven on this effort. It's a watch that you can learn how to rig onto your 3D files in Clone Tools, which again, if you haven't gotten into Clone Tools, go do that first. Like take that as your homework assignment because it's dope. It's powerful. It really, really, really reduces the learning curve in a nice way. It's, like, and as you want to learn more, it's still flexible to the point where you can like go in and actually do specific unique things that you might want to do, but it gives you a starting space or a base. um, it's pretty fun, so I've been enjoying that. The third and final thing that I wanted to talk about, so if anyone has other things they want to talk about, feel free to come up, but this one goes back to the experience and Anya's absolutely goated thread that recaps the entire thing, because that was very much necessary. So, part 8, it kind of talks about the different elements: the metal, light, magic. This one says order, which I don't know if order is an element or if that was like a command or something. But then there's water. So, like, if it was metal, light, magic, and water, those elements would be pretty cool if those were generated from crypto kicks or something like that, and those crypto kick elemental rewards could then safely be infused into the animus, which is the environmental gestation gizmo, which is the egg. There's also a tweet, I think it was Artifact, and then Jem actually sent it to me, but I don't know where it is offhand. I don't know if I sent it to the chat, but like you can kind of see something small inside of the egg, and it's like we're kind of wondering, like, is that incubation? Because the environmental gestation gizmo is something that can safely fuse elemental energies um, into whatever's in it, is kind of how I'm currently understanding it. So it's like, I think when incubation starts and the crypto kicks IRL actually drop, and we can literally move to earn digital elements to then infuse into our eggs, like that shit's gonna be fire, because that's all I'm gonna do literally all summer. It's gonna be the greatest thing. I hopefully wear out an entire pair of shoes ASAP, and hopefully they're very, very comfortable so I can rock those steps. I just saw Liv join the space. Liv, we just hyped up your tweet on the watch. I appreciate you and putting that together. I still got to work through it myself. It's on my list of fun Blender things to attempt this week, which that list is very short. Well, it's very long, but what I can actually accomplish on that list, very short. Because, throwing a punch takes forever. And, like, I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z, so lots of punches get thrown in Dragon Ball Z. Secretly, what up?
What up? What up? It's good.
How you doing?
You know what we're doing? You came over in my space earlier. You heard the jam. Trying to stir up some cool traits and make a storyline with some cool guys in the crew. We want to make
Secretly, I don't know if you rugged or if you got a phone call.
Yeah, I got a phone call. I didn't know if I rugged. My bad. I was saying, what did you think about the demon chat? What do you think?
I got to be somewhat impartial up here because all DNAs are created equal here in the Clonespiracies. Um, that said, personal opinion, demons rock, and excited for everything that the demons are going to bring. Um, I think it's a fun, unique vibe and a really fun community effort because, like, we all picked or we chose to hold or we chose to admire or we have some interest in some kind of DNA that's within the CloneX ecosystem, and there's 8 to choose from, and they're good, they're well thought out, they're diverse, they can span multiple planets even, and they all probably have their own background stories and their own all of it, and like I gotta think all that stuff's
I
been thought through. So like we're gonna learn more, but yeah, what do you think?
I think you're totally right. I definitely want more of the DNAs to be involved. I don't want to make it exclusively about the demons, but I think the initiative is where we're going to start. And then obviously there's so many cool clones that I would love to get involved and great people in the space that have such a great character that we could just bring out, just that's the vibe, that's what we want to create.
And it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Valhalla, the clans based on traits, that whole initiative, which I think is really cool. Um, I don't I don't think we're gonna go that way, but like we can organically form groups and efforts based on DNAs of clones, to then try and push different things that are maybe relevant to our specific DNAs forward. I think that could be a really cool topic to explore.
Yeah, exactly. Like you made those jackets exclusively for your group. Why don't we make like demon assets or like charms, elements, and like, demons like that, because we're getting attention and we're creating good vibes, and that's what we want to bring for our community. And anybody could collect it, not exclusively just for the demons, but that's what we're bringing. We're bringing the hype.
I mean, we could do open editions or limited editions on demon things. Robots can do robot things. Humans human things. Angels angel things. Obviously, all that.
Exactly. Come to the demon island, and I have some red glowing earrings for you. Come and pick them up. You know, Clonespiracys. We got some necklaces for you. We got some shades. Come pull up.
Win mint, sir. That's all I got to say.
Yo, Max Mint, bro. Max Mint. Sell out.
Yeah, it's a lot of work just putting this stuff together. Putting getting files, getting the art done, getting the contract, making that set up, building a website if you choose to, or minting through contract. There's also Manifold though, and like Manifold honestly makes it so easy because you just have to upload your art and input the parameters that you want. Pick ERC 725 or 1155, and like, sorry, not 725, whatever it is, the non 1155 one. Alt is probably laughing because I said the wrong thing. So what is the one that's not 1155? 721. It's 721. 725 is a very different thing. Um, but IYK on that. So yeah, 721 is the unique asset. So I don't know. So Liv's doing her mint basically along those lines, via Manifold, which I'm excited to experience and test out, and then run those tutorials and
Same here.
do all that.
I'm down.
Well, because like secretly think about it, dude. Like we can do something similar with demons and mint through Manifold, and then maybe try and make a tutorial too on how to equip this stuff to your CloneX in Clone Tools, because I think Clone Tools reduces that barrier to Blender entry. Because instead of spending 30 minutes
Wait, I
just
got it.
assembling your clone in 3D space, you just load Clone Tools.
I just rug, dude. I'm leaving my house right now. I don't wanna. I don't wanna rug anything.
I know he's excited for it, and or he will be when he's off of the rug. But yeah, I don't know. Are people wondering about this whole elemental thing and crypto kicks IRL? Is there any thoughts as to, what that thing earned will be? What up, Tevi?
What's going on, everyone? I have thoughts. Actually, it's funny. I didn't get to talk on the space last week, but I was very much on the same vibe as like I think we were actually talking about the same topic. I think the night prior on Bad Take, but I've been giving it like a lot of thoughts, right? Like, yeah, it's like Pokemon and Artifact together would be amazing, right? Like the dream of that, I think, with Animus and everything that we're going through right now makes perfect sense until you come back to the real world and think about logistically how this would work from a legal perspective, right? Like, there's definitely some red tape with Nike, but that's good because like you're building this the right way and you're building for the long term, right? So that's cool, but it slows things down, which is not a bad thing at the end of the day. Then you have Murakami, right, that you have to account for and what he wants, with the clone world and that whole thing being cohesive, right? Right. So you're not taken away from, from those vibes. I feel like if you bring like another giant like Pokemon and you don't do it and you do it as in like we're fully aligned, not even aligned, the right word is like it's a partnership, right? Like where they're either acquired or like they're really working together. I feel like that would add like a lot of red tape versus saying, you know what, we're gonna do this collab. You have your IP, we have our IP. We're just gonna, cross over a few things, but it's mutually beneficial, right? Nintendo is coming into Web3, so what better way to collab with Artifact, Nike, and realistically, it's probably more Nike, right? Because Nike's a giant, and if anything, they're like, hey, we have the Artifact team, which is really leading the way. Here's connect with these folks, work with them, and let's put this whole thing together. But you're not. It's kind of like two entities working together and then going their separate ways. Um, that to me makes more sense than like Animus being the quote unquote Pokemon of Web3, and like that's their entry into it. So I think decoupling the two, working together, getting some ideas makes more sense than full on like this is the partnership. This is the two companies coming together and entering Web3 and crushing it as like a giant entity. So I think, well, Johnny put it more eloquently than I did, but I like the idea of like the collaboration on the launch. But I agree. I think Artifact and Nike, if you think about it, can definitely do this with the inspiration, right? On their own. Like you have all the physical stores, you have the CRLs that are coming together, and so again, we're going to be activating in the real world. AR filters are coming in, so yeah, you're going to be able to go and chase down little monsters, and and who knows, like maybe within the eggs are more than just, and I'm going kind of like just talking out loud, but within the eggs you maybe have more than just Animus, right? And what's to say we have the original 20,000 supply that's coming in, but then everything after that is truly, based on lore moments. And so really what comes out of those could be anything. Could be creatures, could be essence, could be elements, could be stones, whatever you have it that help enhance the current ecosystem. So I think I'm personally super excited for it, and in a way, I like the idea of actually maybe it's not Pokemon, right? Because like, how cool would it be if it's actually not Pokemon? It's something along the same lines, but different enough that it's like blows our minds. And it's like truly the vision of, Clegg, Zap, and Benoit coming to life, and what they're envisioning based on the inspiration, like years of inspiration of everything else that we all grew up with, right? I think that would be cool, like seeing their actual vision unfold. So I'm excited for, draw the inspirations from the past, but adjust it and modify it and drive their own vision for the future. I mean, that's why I got into Artifact, right? Like I loved what they were putting together. So, why stop now? Why stop now? Like we're talking 2052 anyways. So take the time that you need, but make that vision come to life. Like I'm here for it. I think it's going to be awesome.
That's exactly it too, Tevy, is like take the best parts of the last 30 years, 40 years, whatever, of like entertainment and digital content, and then, put it on chain, add provenance to it, allow your collectors to use and own and monetize that IP in however they see fit, which is something that, creators haven't had the ability to do from a big brand standpoint for many, many years. And it's like, let's say they build out their version of CloneX, their version of Animus. There's nothing stopping the community from being like, hey, we can build out something like that too, but let's do it slightly differently. And, or like, different enough, but like same, similar concepts. We take the best of all of these different experiences that we've seen too. We have the ability technically to then go and use these assets to create this next thing, whatever that is, whenever that comes out, however many years from now, if not tens or 20s of years. Because like whatever artifacts rolling out here, it's probably still, a 2-year thing at least, because that would put us at 3 years approximately from the clone mint, which whatever that vision is, it's got to be clear after 3 years. And I think right now we're still in that, development phase, that building it out, that planning, which is tough sometimes to sit in the planning phase in the dark and wonder, where is this spaceship going? But I think when it does start to link, when it does start to connect, it's going to be really fun. It's going to be really exciting. I hope that there is some connection announcements that come out in the next 4 weeks here and at the Japan event. I think that is a really cool, really unique opportunity to, tell us a little more about what the next steps are here.
Yeah, I think we're gonna find out. I'm speculating, right? But again, just gonna using logic a little bit. I think them. It's not a coincidence, right, that they showed us the Animus and with the Murakami traits, and then they announced the Geisai event. So I think there's going to be a little bit more information leaked at that point. I'm not expecting like full details or anything, but I do expect a little bit more on like yeah what Animus and the Murakami collab is going to look like. Maybe tease a couple more of the Animus creatures that have Murakami traits. Is kind of what I'm hoping to see. But if you think about it, like April is, by the time that happens, we'll be mid-April, and then we have the Forge a week after. So before you know it, it'll be May, right? And the CIRLs are expected to touch ground. I think we said June in the FAQ, if I remember correctly. June, July timeframe. So whatever it is they're going to announce, I would expect in the around the time frame of like late April, early May to mid May is when it's going to hit. But we're actually, now that I should just think about this, like now that we crossed over into March, no, sorry, April, we should be hearing, there should be some emails flying around pretty soon here on season 1 merch, going out to people, right? So I think the flow of information pretty soon here will unlock, and when it hits, it's going to be a nice little, maybe not like a tsunami or anything, but it'll be like a nice flow of information that I think it's going to start coming out, is my expectation. I think as we get into like May forward, there should be a little bit more. And I mean, if you're going to activate people around the world for IRL events, summer is pretty much everywhere in May, June around the world is summertime. That would be the time to do it. So I think it'll be fun. I'm excited.
I agree, Tevi. I was just going to bring up that point on shipping the season 1 stuff as well, because it is past quarter 1 at this point, and we don't know when that stuff will show up. And the track record on getting physicals to where they're supposed to be on time and in full is severely lacking. So I'm hopeful we get the Crypto Kicks IRL in May so we can enjoy the full duration of summer. That means a lot of things have to be ready. And honestly, if it's silent between now and May and those things do show up on time and everything's ready, that's great. Let's go. Everything's great. But, when we're still sitting here in August or September and we're like, yo, what is going on? That could be a problem. So I don't want to go too far down that hypothetical problem world, but it's top of mind
Yeah,
right now, Tevi.
I know it is. I think a lot of people are thinking that. I don't know. You know me. I tend to be a little more optimistic and thinking of people learn, right. And I think it's pretty clear at this point that the team has taken the feedback and is implementing a lot of changes and a lot of updates along the way. So logistics, shipping around the world is definitely a massive headache, right? Like not just for Artifact, but like for everybody else. So I the simple fact that they said earlier, it's like, yeah, it's gonna go out in waves, right? And so just asking people to be patient. So I expect that there's gonna be some people getting it a little bit sooner than others, and some of us will probably end up waiting till May or June to get our stuff, but it'll get here. Um, what I'm hoping, honestly, like the season 1 stuff, when you think about the jackets and stuff like that, that were going to be delayed anyways, right? Like that from day 1, we knew those were going to take a little bit longer to go out. I think when you think about that, give or take a few months, I think all of that will kind of be jumbled together, and people will, by summertime, all the clothing will be out to people where it needs to be. It's kind of like how I look at it. What I'm hoping they don't delay on is the CRLs. I'm hoping that they come out on time, and that whatever event whatever activation is coming along with that there's enough notification, like enough of a notice that people can plan around, especially like if there's not necessarily going to be something local to you right away, right? Because with Nike, like there's limitation on jurisdiction where stuff can happen, right? Obviously for us in the US, no big deal, it should be everywhere. But if you're like in Canada and you have your stuff hubbed to wherever you are, if you wanted to like plan to fly somewhere to be able to participate, that there's enough notice for people to be able to do that. And I'd love to know when the official Artifact event actually is for the year too. Like that would be good to know with a few months in advance, so people can plan around that. Versus, hey, event is happening 2 weeks from now, book your tickets. I'm like, yeah, that's not going to fly. That's great for single people with no responsibilities, not so much for those of us who have families and Web 2 life and real jobs. Not that, and that actually, that sounded like super mean. I take that back. People who have responsibility that they have to attend to and can drop everything last minute. I should say that. That's a better way to put it. So love that. Yeah. Anyways, I'm kind of just rambling on now. I'm over here like working on this next animation and trying to multitask and do this. So
Do you animate?
it's gonna be a fun one. So I've got I'm working on getting my clones into the pod into some cool stuff that they're gonna do. Ideally, hopefully, if everything works out in the next couple of weeks here, I should be able to release this one.
And Tevi,
So
do you do it all in Blender?
Yeah.
Nice. So do you use I'm just learning all these terms. There's like the keyframing, I don't know, menu, and then there's those two other menus, timing and something else.
Yeah. So I use that. And then when you have continuous, like if you wanted to link different animations together, then you want to go to your graph editor and, connect your different animations together. So that's so the one that I did for the obstacle course, that was a lot of graph editor stuff on in that. Well, actually, both of them had some. I had to like link together different animations to be able to make that happen. So yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, dude, it's fun. It's like a fun thing that's super rewarding when it works finally. But like just seeing how much work went into 1 second. I'm just trying to picture my first 30-second animation. I think I have to work my way to just a 10, maybe a 15-second.
Yeah, the one thing I will say too is, you can. Well, this is just how I approached it. So, take it for whatever it's worth. It's just my 2 cents. I think starting off by using like the keyframes to try to do everything just so you can understand like movement and what works, what doesn't work is helpful. But you can truly like increase and simplify your workflow by utilizing like Mixamo, for example, and getting, different movements built in. And that's really, once you start utilizing that, then you can really get into like, stitching together your different movements and only have to animate out whatever Mixamo doesn't provide you with, which cuts down a ton of time. Like I think one of the animations I did, where it was, I think I was right after the Korea released his Genesis collection. I think I did a quick one. It was maybe like 5 or 10 seconds where my clone walks up, kneels down, and just dust off with the shoes. The walking and kneeling down was through Mixamo, and then the dusting off, I did that myself because Mixamo doesn't care about you dusting off your shoes, so I had to do that. But that was super easy to do because most of it was automated.
Dude, Mixamo looks cool. I just Googled it.
Yeah, I mean it's a giant. Well, yeah, it's a giant library of like all these pre-built animations, and really once you have them all, the only thing in quotation mark that you have to worry about is how do you stitch them together, and that's where the graph editor becomes really powerful. And learning that skill set is clutch.
Okay.
But yeah, it sounds daunting at first, but once you do it a couple of times, and I would recommend also like just have a file that you don't care about and test your stuff in there. And once you have it figured out, then you can go into like, especially if you're building like an environment and all these different things, you don't want to trial and error in your fully built out environment because one, it's going to take forever to get things moving. And then if it crashes on you, then you lose everything. That is experience talking. It is not fun.
Small files.
So
What is a good pixel count on the animation, Tevi, for like your practice? Because I ran an 800 by 800 and only did like 64 cycles, and it seems to look okay.
yeah, I mean, I work within like I don't modify anything too much, and I render everything in Eevee versus cycles because cycles takes forever.
Okay.
Now, if I was like super fancy with it, which I'm not, then I would go into cycles for like the extra realistic thing. But I'm also only working on a laptop and with a trackpad with no mouse, nothing. So I'm trying to keep my life simple
I understand.
as much as possible.
No, that makes sense. I bought a whole PC just so I could Blender. Would recommend. My old one was like very, very low and slow. So I shouldn't say just to Blender. Really, it was to play video games at a higher level and render. And really, that was the core of it. But it's been great. Like, I just render things relatively effortlessly now, which is so much nicer than my old toaster. So, with that, we just went on a little bit of a side tangent. That's what I would define as a side quest in entry level animation and Blender use by Tevi. Thank you, Tevi, for that. That was helpful for anyone who's entry level into this space as well. If you haven't checked out Clone Tools, again, I'm making another plug for that because it's powerful. You can customize just about anything. We also have a community effort. Liv Toven has made a smartwatch, themed it after the space here, and created a video or an animation. Sorry, what is the thing? A tutorial. So many words with moving parts. She has made a tutorial for us and allowing us to rig a file that she's made onto our clones to then using clone tools. So I would encourage everyone to check that out. I retweeted it from the account. It is pinned up top in the center there. So please participate, and send feedback. Like, this is kind of cool because this is the start of a community member taking it upon themselves to then educate us so that we can all start equipping things to our clones, doing cool renders, customizing, and really pushing the limits of this entire collection forward, because we have the tools. They're literally free, and we have access to the files. All you need is Blender, and like, you can do so many things. Procreate on the iPad, also extremely helpful for just like drawing, and that feels good too. Um, just some thoughts, lots of cool things just in general. It's tough to pick another direction. Um, I really only had those three things. So if other people have topics on the artifact ecosystem, theories, thoughts, questions, comments, feel free to jump up. Totally open space. Otherwise, I can keep talking to Tavi about animation, and trust me, I will eventually once I learn. Yeah, dude. So animation is going to be my side thing, Tevi. I got my one done. I kind of want to make a couple more. Does Mixamo, does that cost money?
No, it's free. You just need you just need to create an account. You can just get in there and get what you need, which is super cool.
Dude.
Yeah, man. Like it'll rock your world. It'll make your life so much easier. It'll make you want to create more. Whatever concepts, things like, like I love anime, right? So, like that's why like the first animation I did, I was like, it would be so cool to recreate like a fight scene, and try to go, Dragon Ball Z style or yeah, or anything along those lines, right? And I was like, well, I don't know that I can do that. So, I did what I could with the first one, which was a good learning experience. But I think Jarlin said it best, and I 100% agree with it. Like if you try to create some, like, learn based on what you're trying to create. Actually, no, Kreia said that, like, or maybe both of them said it. But if you're going in with the intent of like, hey, have this vision and I'm trying to put this together, it'll make it so much easier for you to actually create than if you don't even know why you're getting in there. So yeah, like the first one I did was I wanted to create a fight scene, and I had the Berserker mask from Zayd. I'm like, man, that would be so cool. I can have a villain and I can have a protagonist and an antagonist, right? And it was around the time of the eggs being dropped and everything, so that was perfect. The whole protect theme it was the right timing. Took me well over a month to put it all together, which in hindsight was like ridiculous, because I think about how many hours I spent on that thing, and it's like, yeah, if it wasn't like a labor of love, I would have stopped, because it's like, why am I doing all this? I'm not getting paid for this. But it was just the satisfaction of like one, seeing if it could be done, and then two, when it was done, like, man, this, like, I did this. This is cool. And it's all because we got these files, right? And it's like, I can't draw for nothing, but I will animate, and I can edit videos and stuff. So so I'm like, some of the other collections, even if I bought them, like, I can't do anything with them because I can't draw. So I would just look at my JPEG, and that would be it. This gives me something to do on the side and learn new skills. So I appreciate that.
It is so much better when you have like an idea in your head and that you really want to accomplish, and then you figure out the tools that make that idea, come to life. Then you see the visual and you're like, wow, this is pretty cool. And then you look at the time and you're like, oh my, what, how did I just spend that much time sitting here doing that? And it's like when you realize that hours are literally evaporating in front of you and you have a 1 second clip to show for it, it's kind of nice though, because it's progress. It's a memory of that learning experience. And Tevi, I think you hit the nail on the head, bro. You just said, I have 3D files and this entire vast ecosystem to explore with these files. It's more than just a JPEG. There is 3 dimensions worth of JPEGs connected and meshed and rigged and coming to life in 3D animation, which is definitely not trivial. Um, it's exciting though, man. And I feel like there's probably a way to like take 3D animation and then turn it into 2D using an AI filter on it or something like that. And I bet it looks like even better because you would have all your shading already pre-done on it, all your lighting, everything. Like, it's pretty cool.
I mean, the other thing too that well, as you were talking, that I was thinking about, right, is the just you think about where all of this is going long term, and you're essentially getting a leg up on everybody else. And it's kind of like when the internet came out, and well, that's a big analogy, but whatever. And some people are like, like radio on the internet. Like, why would I want to listen to stream or whatever? And we all thought like the internet was one dimensional and could only do one thing. Um, and you had the radio, you had TV, and then you had the internet, and they were all like different avenues and different avenues. Today on the internet, like, everything is interconnected, right? And you can stream, watch movies, you can listen to your music, all that stuff, you know, all in one under one.
Tabby, you might have rugged. I don't know if you got a phone call too. I just don't want you to keep telling us amazing things. Well, you're not able to be heard. That would be unfortunate for everybody.
Hey, I come back.
Debbie, you're back. Did you get a phone call?
Yeah, my wife was calling me. So,
That's good.
anyways,
Debbie, I like how you answer the phone when your wife calls, but that time your dad called, just declined it instantly.
yeah, you gotta have your priorities, right? Mom and dad brought me into this world. They'll love me regardless. But the wife, you gotta watch that one. So, I'll be right back.
Gotta love it. I appreciate the priorities on that. Um, yeah, we're just kind of vibing, talking, and maybe we can use this time to just encourage everyone to actually check out Clone Tools. And I know I've said that 3 times so far, but it is critically powerful, and I would say important, that each of us learn what lies behind the PFP so that we can start to live this creator vision that we're all here for to support in some way, shape, or form. And I think that is the most critical thing we can do. as active participants of this ecosystem is to use the IP that we have, to start lifting those weights, so to speak. Start small, learn in clone tools. Once you feel like you've maxed out what clone tools can do at its surface, then dive deeper. Like DM, jump on a space, talk to people about it, because there's so much that we actually have the ability to do that I just think people kind of don't realize, or it looks too daunting. But actually, I mean, you can do it. Like, you can, just watch Beb's video, make something fun, pick some camera angles, do a render. It's kind of rewarding and fun, and it gives you a totally different level and tier, and a different tier of respect, I would say, for 3D art in general, because it's high effort and extremely difficult to get it like perfect, to really get it something that you're proud of, that isn't ridiculously heavy, I'll say. Because like file size can just rampantly stack up, and then pretty soon you're paying Microsoft an additional $7 a month because you saved it all to the cloud. Who knows if I should have done that.
I'm back.
What up, Tabby?
I
I was stalling.
Appreciate the stall. I don't know what was said, but I just came back. The other thing I wanted to say before I had to go and answer is, I think even like playing around with your files like gives you like a brand new appreciation for what is being built, right? I think I always hit on this point, but once you start doing, I think it gives you a brand new appreciation for like how long this stuff actually takes to do it at a scale, and and the quality behind it. Every time we see like cool animations being dropped by the team or other people, frankly, in the space, like that the one that Cultivate did for Zaid with Zaid, that was just insanely fluid, and just it was amazing, right? And that looks cool. And I was like, what, maybe like, I don't remember how long it was, maybe like a minute something. But all the details that went into that, like to create something like that, like that takes a lot of skills. But it would be really easy to be like, yeah, that's cool. And the average person, I'm sure would say, yeah, no, that looks good, and that would be it, right? Not realizing all the effort that went into it. But until you pick up your own files, you jump into Blender, and you try to create just a punching scene, and then you're like, oh my god, like, why am I even doing this? And I think the deeper you dive, the greater of an appreciation you have for what's being built by the Artifact team, and or any creators for that matter in the space. And I think it takes away, or at least it, for me, I will speak for myself, it minimizes the, man, why isn't this ready yet? The whens. Like, I don't find myself saying when. The only person I say when to now is Jack for that jacket. That's it. The conspiracy jacket. That's the only thing I say when to. Because I want to rock that jacket on my clone and animate it and move it around. That's what I want to do. So I'm going to keep saying when for that. But besides that, I don't say when for the Artifact team, because what they're building is like, man, that's like literally world merging and world building, right? And I'm good with, take the time, because I cannot do what you do, and I signed up for your vision. I want to see it come to life. But Jack, I'm still waiting for that jacket. So when?
You and me both, Tabby. I want that thing too. Throw it.
When?
Hopefully, I can learn how to rig it. We can get the tutorials out. We can start pushing all of that, hopefully, soon. And I have zero definition on how to define soon. But your asks are being heard. I can tell you that as directly as I possibly can. And my DMs are definitely in the Sir's box to make some moves on these things. And I probably default, I love the wins, honestly, don't take this the wrong way. I default to the, I ain't got no means or methods currently to prioritize said 3D continuation. However, it is still on the path, it is still on the plan. I know that when Clone Tools 2 comes out, Wayne has told me it will be ready for that. So I could easily deflect and just say Win Clone Tools 2. However, I know that there's people in the ecosystem that want this thing so that we can put it on and we can use it and we can show it off because the thing hits. It's the best looking damn puffer in the space. I'm definitely biased, but I'm also right. So there's that. And yeah, I want to get this into the hands of the people that can create and really bring it to life, because like that's what it's about. It's about being this vision, living this vision and kind of pushing all of that forward. Um, that is a core focus behind the scenes here, Tevi. Just know that. And Ellen, I know you want it too, bro. We'll get it to you. Same live. Uh, keep DMing, keep asking. Let's do it. We all want it. Yeah, I guess we could keep going with the wins. Maybe we just pivot to Artifact though, Tevi. That way, they have a team of
Yeah, we
people
should.
behind these things. They can prioritize them as required.
Maybe you should. What you could do. This is just a thought. You could DM Zapsio and be like, "Hey, I have a really cool item that you could throw into season 2 whenever season 2 comes out." And at that point, you don't have to worry about it, right? So now it's on them to bring the Vision Jacket to life. And because it's as part of season 2, you know, you don't have to worry about the wins anymore. And it'll just be soon. And then you're good to go.
Dude, I like that the challenge here is just to slide into the founders of Artifacts DMs and get a collab on season 2 of the Artifact ecosystems physical drop. Tevi, that is a great quest, and I'm choosing to accept it right now. However, I'm probably going to wait until there's like a creator, like an invitation, at least a moderately passively invitation to make a request as bold as such. And when that request is made, hopefully there's a community of people behind said request that are active and they support the effort to get that jacket physically forged and incorporated into some kind of community contest per se to get these things rolling, because we can do this. And I don't believe that the Clonespiracys sub community is the only sub community within the Artifact ecosystem or the Web3 space that would love an opportunity to get something forged via Artifact. I know that other people out there would love this. I mean, think about Clone Force, think about Cultivate, think about Metashima, think about Genesis. I mean, there's so many dope creative projects out here, and like if Artifact was to have another creator challenge slash contest, I know the best of the best would show up, and you already know that Vision Jacket would be submitted and hopefully encouraged and supported from the ecosystem here. That would be the subtle ask, because we can make almost anything we want happen, which was kind of what secretly was trying to do, or is trying to do slash is doing with the Demon DNA. He's trying to push, the people to kind of organize together to start, representing these DNAs that we've all chosen, or that were chosen for us, or that we participate within, just to grow those kind of sub communities out at another level. Which is my long-winded way, Tevi, of saying yes, I'm gonna do it, sir.
I appreciate the long answer, but as you were talking, I just remembered something that we should congratulate and thank you for the All for One AF1 campaign. I think it was a massive success. I don't think I was in a space between then and now to congratulate you on that. I think it was super well received. The main account actually came in and retweeted and joined in to offer one, which I thought was fantastic. I mean, it was genius. I know Polly is not on here, but even putting together all of those those renders and fitting all the clones in, that was genius. That was pretty epic. So if nothing else, thank you for, again, I love the idea when you pitched it, right? And you're like, yeah, it's like AF1, it stands for all for one, the reference to the anime, and the fact that the community all stands as one behind Artifact and where we're going. I think, again, all of that truly embodies what this is all about. And um, I wanted to make sure that I said thank you. I was thinking about, I'm like, I know there's something I want to tell him when I speak to him on Monday. So yeah, no, I thought it was pretty epic. I'm glad I was able to participate in it and do my small part. But it was awesome to see Artifact main account participate, and that's in their way telling you and everybody else, right? Like, we hear you, we support you in the same way that you support us, and we're all in this together, all for one. So awesome. It's pretty genius. Thank you again for organizing.
Yeah, thanks, Heavy. No, dude, that was fun. It was a total vibe of an event, and dude, that was only like 50 clones in a Twitter group chat. Like, imagine 5,000 plus holders activated, tweeting over a period of time, to really send an actual message at scale, bro. We got worldwide reach, and like, I think the campaign went really well. It was fun. Um, I'm hoping it was well received by people, inside and outside of the ecosystem, because I gotta guess that thing rolled, because I know it was definitely lighting my page up. But I tried to retweet like all of them too, just to like do it, honestly, because it is a numbers game in Twitter, and if you don't get the exposure or capture the attention, like, you fade out, or like, the loudest voices, I guess, on Twitter get heard, is probably a better way of phrasing that. And it's like, our sentiment can be so easily tipped one way or another, that I was just kind of curious, what people would do if we all tweeted out at the similar times, in a coordinated community campaign. And it was pretty fun to see it come to life, honestly, which was a vibe. So appreciate the words. I'm glad you participated. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And yeah, dude, I was hyped too when the official Artifact account retweeted, or like literally tweeted. Paulie didn't even tell me that he made them a mosaic. He just like let me see it, and I was like, bro. He goes, right? They just killed my DMs. So I think Paulie said he's made over 140 of them now, which honestly, bless him for that, because when we launched, we had like 50, like low 50s, let's just say 50. And Paulie has cranked out 90 additional mosaics over the weekend, literally in 3 days, which, like, yo, good for him. Um, so yeah, like, we have so many cool creators and builders in the ecosystem that, like, people will create, they will do, they will build, and then, like, we have people that'll organize it, and it's like, we can do these things, and like, this ecosystem is so much more than maybe what the loudest voices say some days. And I think that we would all, as an ecosystem, be good to, or it would be a positive thing if we remember that and we use that to then create and build and show what we can actually accomplish, which is, again, why I'm going to put that subtle plug for Liv Tobin's smartwatch. Go participate, interact with the tweet, like it. If nothing else, like it. And retweet it if you're comfortable, comment if you're interested. Like, let's get people using this just to get familiar with the basis of how to connect a watch onto a clone to then use clone tools and pose. Like, there is an, an, an actual infinite amount of utility to this simple, probably going to take you 5 minutes to 2 hours, depending on, I guess that's what I'm going to blank off for it anyways. I'm going to give myself 2 hours to do it. And then when I can do it in 5 minutes, I'm going to geek out and DM Liv and say, thank you for making that so incredibly easy. Or I'm going to say, hey, Liv, that took me 4 hours. I don't know what happened or what I did wrong, but we got it. So we'll see how that goes. But you know, it's about trying these things, learning these things, experiencing these things, because like all of this stuff is, you know, a world that we're blind to if we don't actually dive in and try it out and play around with it. And it's like, I want to play with this Mixamo thing because it looks crazy.
Yeah, you got to, man. And actually, kind of going back quickly on the poly thing. Um, After the campaign started, right? Like I can, and even today, you still have people. I see people on my timeline, wondering like, hey, how do I get in? How do I get the mosaic stuff? And when you think about it, right, it's actually pretty damn cool. Like, I didn't even know you could. I mean, I've seen mosaics before, right? But I didn't know you could fit that many pictures into like little pixels, like 19,500 and something clones, right? Like all of the clones that are revealed today are in there. If you zoom in and you search and you're patient, you will find your clone in every single one of those. Like it's pretty incredible to see that. People, even a few people actually tweeted with their regular picture because it just like you see some cool movement and you just want to be part of it, and it's one of those things that you feel like you have to be part of it, and it was a really cool moment. And it's still the reality, it's still ongoing, right? Like every day I see somebody tweet like all for one, and so I try to go back and tweet and at least like and comment or whatnot. But um I think it was pretty cool. But yeah, I'm actually, I'm waiting I'm hoping we get something. Honestly, like the tweet I'm waiting for right now is, hey, all this stuff has shipped. Or hey, here's a new animus like that you haven't seen yet. Like or hey, here's how you're going to be able to infuse or drip some of your traits onto your animus, right? Because if we go back to the Murakami one that they showed, and the little vial uh openings, it's not even openings, but like the slots on the arms, like I gotta think that you'll be able to either use vials and or simply connect your clone to drip out whatever trait you want onto them. And I'm not gonna lie, that's one of the main reasons why I bought the Murakami drip that I now own, for that. Besides the fact that it looks cool, but it was, and a big driver was, hey, if I can connect my animus to my clone, which again was said to be a thing, and you can influence how your animus evolves over time with your clone, then I think that's going to be pretty dope. But you know, going on one line, right, and making a whole theory around it, which was Jarlin's coming around your animus, and how you take care of them and everything in your pods will lead to like interesting evolutions, or however he phrased it. um I think that in itself is like, man, like there's a lot right now that we're not seeing or not connecting, and when it all hits, it's gonna be pretty bananas. I just
And it's like,
hope people are.
when do we find out how
I
it
know.
connects? Because it's still not like what I'm trying to remind myself too is like, you know, it's a lore based thing. You get a stranger result, which in Web3 means one thing, and in, you know, lore means one thing, but it's like it could actually be really, really cool what Podburn and what Exodus is and what the incubation is and what hibernation is. It's just we don't have any concrete evidence as to what any of it is right now, and it's driving me absolutely crazy.
It's And I think I'm gonna steal this one. I think you said this, but when it's ready, that's when it's going to be. And I feel like it was you. I feel like you said when it's ready. I don't know if it was you or somebody else, but I'm pretty sure it was you. So I'm gonna throw that one right back at you. It's when it's ready, they're gonna drop it, and you best believe that this silence is not for the lack of work being done. It's because there's a ton of work being done. Um, and in all fairness, right? Like they've been more active on Twitter, whether it's liking posts or jumping into some of the various like little events and things that we've done. Like you can kind of see them, all of them popping up here and there, and kind of showing support along the way. So when they're taking little breaks, they're popping up and throwing a nod at the community, which is much appreciated. So I think it's important for us to remember that too, right? It's like they have a ton that's being juggled right now. But yeah, I'm excited and I actually noticed more of like, your Jarlin has been, a lot more active. Actually, all of them have to some extent, been a little bit more on Twitter and posting a few more things here and there. So whatever's coming, I think it sounds cliche, but I think it's going to be very soon. And it feels like it's bubbling up to the surface. So again, my speculation and my conspiracy is that everything, or a good portion of the next steps, drop here as we head into the last week of April into early May, is when happens.
I agree. I think that's probably how it's going to go, slow until late April, mid May. I really hope that the CIRLs come early May slash really, really early June so that we can hit those quests. We can start to move and earn whatever digital collectibles are happening, because like that is the phase, that is what 2023 is going to encounter. It is all built around Animus, and I think that unlocking, I mean, ideally environments, elemental energies or elemental, resources, some way, shape, or form. I mean, that makes sense to me, and doing it in a way that you have to have the shoes to unlock and earn these things, like that's pretty neat. And it's interesting because like when the shoes dropped, we knew that there would be physical space questing, and digital collectible rewards. And I feel like the sentiment at that time of that drop was so low, based on drop mechanics, let's just say, that like nobody wanted to hear it. Even me, like I didn't want it, I didn't hear it, I wasn't, just zero part of me was interested. But it's like all of that really overshadows probably a lot of what could be really cool if they do all of this correctly. And it's just so terribly saddening how they did that. I'm still in this mindset. However, I understand we got to move on. We got to move forward. We got to press forward, learn from that. And I think that the physical space questing will be cool. Elements coming with crypto kicks, IRL, to then incubate our environmental gestation gizmos to create Animus. Uh, that is dope. And it's like, but like, just win details, like just tell us what we need to know so that we can do it. But at the same time, I understand that they're not coming out to just say, hey, here's what we're doing, everybody. Oh, by the way, it's going to take us 18 more months. Instead, they're just going to do little bits and pieces as they build it out, because if they do, here's what we're doing, someone will front run them and do it before they can, with less oversight than they have. And at the end of the day, this is all of our IP. This is all of our collection. This is where we all choose to participate and play in this ecosystem. So like, do it right and release it when it's ready. So I love that just came back, Tevi.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm gonna hold you accountable here. The other thing too, I would say, is I'm actually, as counterintuitive as this sounds, I'm in a way now looking back, kind of glad that it went maybe as poorly as it did, right? Because not that I'm, like I support the events that transpired and all that. But I think when you look back, there's a lot of tech and innovation that is being dropped with those CIRLs. And when you think about how many of those are in existence today, right? That clones have access to, and when we all find out what they actually do, how the mechanics are going to work, and everything, you're going to look back, and for those of us who actually did forge them and have a pair or two or more, not saying you should buy more, just whatever you forge is what you forged. But if you have at least a pair, you're gonna look back on that, and once we find out all the cool stuff that's behind them, it's gonna feel even more special, right? Like that you kind of stood behind the team, believed in it, bought, and now you have a cool piece of technology um, that allows you, exclusive access to a lot of these digital collectibles and eventually physical items that go along with them. Um, if nothing else, I look at clones as the key to all of these exclusive items and experiences that you otherwise just wouldn't get to participate and experience. And I think that in itself, maybe right now, while there's not any physicals out in the wild, it doesn't seem like a big deal. But once a lot of this stuff gets out there and people start seeing it and they're able to touch it and feel it, it's going to be a whole different ball game. Like I said, if I'm in the Midwest, right? If here where I live, people are able to recognize the artifact AR hoodie and know what it is and get jazzed and excited about it, and the people that don't even know what it is look at the design and love it for just the way it looks before they find out about the tech. Imagine what happens when you start walking around with the Air Force Ones and you're able to you're like, hey, scan my shoe or whatever, or people recognize it and they're like, oh, that looks a little bit different. Why is there a blade on this side or whatever? And then you start talking about it. You're able to show how they're implementing blockchain technology to show provenance. Like all that stuff is very novel, right? And very cool. Like the cool factor behind all of this stuff is pretty epic. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for it. I think those Air Force Ones are going to be pretty epic. I'm excited to forge on the 24th.
Tevi,
Yeah,
going just back to the point about being happy with how things dropped, I think we disagree on that one. I will never accept that as acceptable, or looking back in retrospect that was a good thing. They absolutely did a terrible thing, and I will never let that one go until it is made up and done appropriately. As a drop of a team and a project of this quality and this standard is very much so capable of performing, and once they can actually achieve that, that's when I'm going to actually give it the creme de la creme, the oh my god, they did it, the hype it deserves. And that was the absolute wrong. You all know how I feel on that. I don't even need to go down that dark path again. I'm
yeah.
above it. I'm
Don't do
beyond
it.
it, Tevi. I shall get there
I'm
eventually.
just I'm just gonna rephrase it so you know exactly where I'm coming from, okay? Because I don't want you to hang up and be like, oh my god, I can't believe you said that. How can you support that nonsense? And we're just gonna use the word nonsense because we're a PG-13 crew and we're trying to keep it classy. Um, no, I'm not saying. Again, I think I agree with you. I think there's a lot of stuff that could have been better. What I'm saying is, for if you kind of move past it, right, or at least past it enough that you saw the CRLs for what they are and the innovation that they truly represent, and were able to get a pair, I think when you look back years from now, you're going to be glad that you bought, right? Like you're probably not going to not be scarred or upset or whatever feelings that you have with how it went down. but you're going to look at the shoe itself and what it represents and that moment in time as the start of something big. Like how it get kicked off, probably not the greatest, but what it represents, I think, is truly what I'm going after. And what I'm saying is that is going to be like the start of something massive. And to have a piece of history that embodies that, I think is the cool piece.
All I'm
And the fact that, yeah,
all I'm ever gonna
go
see,
ahead.
Tevy, is that they only sold 25% out of what could have been 100%. So anything cool that happens out of that is only 25% what it could have been. And that's how I look at it, Tevy. That's what hurts me the most, is because every resource that they put into this at this point is a quarter of what it could have been. And it could have been freaking fantastic, and it probably will be good. And it's like, we go back to like a small number of people can make a big splash, but a big number of people can make a monsoon. And if we want to get everyone to the point where we are with this CloneX project, we need a monsoon of absolute commanding drip authority, bro. We need the people so damn excited about these things that they're using and moving and doing things in that they can't help but talk about it. And it's like, I will be that old ass dude sitting there in VR somewhere going, yeah, back in 2022. Fuck yeah, I will be, dude. Trying to be family friendly. Forgot for a second there. Got too excited. Yeah, it's like, I'm going to remember that, and I will probably always bring it up. And I don't know if I will ever literally get over it, but I'm going to try to. I will essentially work my way up to it. And it's like Crypto Kicks IRL, the egg, Animus, incubation, hibernation, Exodus, space pods. All of this stuff is trajecting towards that monsoon of epicness. And it's like, the energy is the monsoon, but it's not. It's like a small gray cloud floating off next to the desert. Shit's about to evaporate, bro. And like, we don't want to evaporate. We need to bring that energy back. And it's like, we can do that as a community, but like, the force of it all really comes, you know, from the team. And it's like, as this stuff rolls out, as we build up, the way we go about things, I think, is equivalently important as to what we go about doing, because that way of going about it, that's what's going to get the people excited, I think.
The only thing I can add to that is once you get those shoes in your hands, I think a lot of feelings that you have will not disappear, but they will kind of retreat into a dark little corner of your consciousness, and you will be just fine. And those little feelings are not going to come out for quite some time, if ever, until you have grandkids and you're like, I lived through this, and you're telling them like your war stories. That's when that's going to come out. But, we'll see. But that's kind of how I feel about it.
If that's the
I
only
can't wait. I can't wait till you get those shoes in your hands, and you put them on your feet and go for your first walk. Like when that happens, please DM me and tell me how you feel.
Bro, if that's the only war story I have to live through, I'm gonna be okay. That I can live with. We can this will work. And yes, I'm excited for that, because we already know Minnesota going to be repping some leaderboards somehow. Maybe even the person down in St. Louis will probably be topping the charts on that drip meter. That move to earn drip on the daily runs, because he has to process the drip that's pumping through those hopium-filled veins with them rainbow teeth. Baron, what up? How are you? What's going on?
Yo, dude. This is like the best yin and yang up here on stage, listening to you two Minnesotians. Tevy's like, I think the monolith blowing up was cool. Jack's like, that was the worst day of my life. and I'll never forgive anyone for it. Oh man, I'm just here to be the middle guy. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's. I think. Are you guys talking about? Because the way I think about it, the crypto kicks will come before those Air Force Ones, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
dude, they look so comfortable. I love how Toby's been putting out content on it. He did the black and the stone last week, and yeah, they look sweet. I was putting them up on my Instagram with all the like on my normal Instagram because I don't have two. Getting a lot of likes from like people, even my parents' friends and stuff. So which is cool because like you go to Miami or you go to any city, like people of all ages are wearing Nikes. So and they have. That's where you're going to get the free cash flow or disposable income is to start to appeal to. And I don't want to say that like they're like mom shoes, but the fact that like they have an aesthetic that everybody likes, and I think that a lot of good shoes do, is appealing. So yeah, I'm over the whole thing with the monolith. Because I have to live my life that way. You know, I can't live in the past. Because just I'll keep it like in my mind, just as like a in the rearview mirror, as they say, but just kind of caution it going forward. But as it stands today, like I I I do feel like everybody's doing the best they can. I know that, and I like what Tevye was saying, but I can't remember. And I like what Jack's saying. Like I like both perspectives. I just I'm here because I support the team and the people that are there giving it there every day. And so that's why I'm here at this point. And it really can't, it can only go up from here for me. The other thing I was thinking about, I was listening to you guys, is like with the gods coming on Ethereum and then, going from 11 ETH to, I don't know, it was like 8.5 ETH and then seeing Nakamigos pump. It's just, it shows you that quality isn't necessarily like a driving value. It also shows you that like things can change quick and blur farming is impacting these projects. So it's going to be like a level set for Web3 almost. I mean, a lot of these projects will seem to be trading at a similar spot at a certain point. So, I think that Artifact's timing could work out well for them no matter when it comes. I have no idea. I don't even think about it anymore. I really can't. I do. Takashi's got me thinking about it with all he's putting so much work into the Geisa, like pre-media stuff. And they're doing some applications for like new artists, young up and coming artists that all have to submit their applications for the event by April 9th. And it's all in like all his stuff's in Japanese, but I don't know if I think they're to be featured in the show. So it feels a little bit like a space drip type moment from when I think of it. Maybe some of them will get the chance to design an animus, which would be cool to like bring that whole culture together, just kind of like how we did with the young artists in Space Drip. Do that with Japanese artists. So I don't know, going on and on, but I just no matter what anybody's opinions are today, I feel like they're calmer, and which is good. And I'm also realizing that like projects in this space don't like when other projects get close to their success point, and clones came out hot, and so I feel like in some ways it was like other projects did a good job of not talking about things that got fucked up, or they did a good job of at least not bringing it to the timeline. And this time around, I hope we don't need to go to that we even get to a point of FUD, but no matter how it happens, someone's going to say something that's they don't like, and I'm not partaking in that. That's my other kind of I'm really not thinking about it. I'm paying attention to Takashi. I'm excited for the shoes, and I'm not partaking in FUD unless on the timeline for sure.
Yeah, I think my whole experience, my Monolith 2 experience, instead of just being in the rear view, Baron, I think that it's like a bobblehead that's stuck on the dashboard of my truck. So like I'm looking at it, I'm reminded of it. It's traveling with me, but it's kind of like this funny thing that I just kind of make a meme out of at this point. Um, so it's like kind of half in my rear view mirror per se.
I like that. It's actually right in front of your face, bobbling.
Can't miss it.
So it's not in your rearview mirror. It's okay. It's just not there yet. This art's going to be so dope on these eggs. I have no idea how it's going to be processed or impacted. There's so many different options they can do, and if they don't, here's the thing: like if they don't do it right away, like whether it's your clone impact the egg or or they don't introduce vials from the start to impact the egg, it doesn't mean it's not coming. You know, they're trying to. I think that I just see that those are like the little areas of FUD that I can just see coming. It's like, God, I just want people to realize how much hard work is going into this and just trust the process. And a lot of this is me talking to myself and not talking to I use this space as a way to kind of, okay, yeah, why am I still here? Okay, yeah, it's to support the people that are leading the charge here. That a lot of it is because of the community, and I'm not here to bring my Web 2 mood to the Web 3 space and take it out on Artifact because I can, and no one can yell back at me. So thanks for letting me remind myself of those things today.
We're happy to be here for you, Baron. That goes for literally everybody in the space. If you're participating, you're here, we're here, we're all here. And like Tevy and I were talking, we talked for probably 45 minutes. So thanks for everyone who made it through that, about 3D animation and 3D rendering and clone tools and kind of what we can all do with these files we have, because these are not JPEGs. These are 3D game ready assets, which I might just point out because Unreal Editor for Fortnite is Epic, by Epic Games. So I just love how that rolls. But like we have the ability to learn and to do so many cool things with these assets that we have. We can use clone tools to reduce the barrier to entry into the 3D space, and kind of working on that in the theory of customizing, in the act of being the vision that we all see in living that experience. Liv Toven has made a tweet. I have it pinned up top. It's the middle one. If this is the third time you're hearing about this tweet, you probably already interacted with it. If you didn't, go interact with it. This is the third time you're hearing about it. If this is the first time, please go interact with Liv Toven's tweet. Read it, check it out, at least give it a like, honestly. And participate if you're into this, because she's putting together an entire tutorial, an asset, and this is something we can build with as an ecosystem, as a community, to then get better at using our 3D files, to then learn how to equip a customized asset from a community member onto your clone, and then to be able to show the render off, tweet it out, get the word out about what CloneX, what Liv Toven is doing, what she is starting, because this is an exciting moment. This, to me, feels like when people were doing loot pod skins this time last year. Like, creating your own digital file and dropping it onto your own personalized avatar and posing it in the way that you want it to, with the lighting and rendering that you want it to. You can make any PFP have actually any trait you can imagine. Just look at the things behind this, the underlying principles. This is rigging something to a rig that's already set up to work within Clone Tools, which is a very accessible program. And like that can only scale because that rig is always going to be there. We can learn how to rig different things that do different things that are different assets and connect them into our profiles and connect them onto our clones. Like this is an exciting, fun moment. So like, let's use this time and really gain a better understanding about what's happening behind the scenes. Because Baron, you're right. This stuff is hard. This stuff takes a lot of time. And that's what Tabby and I were talking about earlier before the dark place was mentioned, which, you know, we'll get past it eventually. I'm just never going to ever forget it.
I think, Jack, you need an angel clone in your life, potentially, to balance out a demon.
Dude, you're gonna make him hang up on the space. Yeah, look at that. Yo, congrats to Liv on what she did, man. That Liv, congrats to you. If you're here,
she is. I think. Yeah, I see her.
Yeah, she's just been here since day one. She's I don't know her personally, but appears to be just a smart, really smart, well spoken, like well written person, well spoken in the way that I read it. And wow, the one with the render with the clone on, like I love how that clone just looks more healthy with that smartwatch on and style. And so Liv, that's so cool. And you know that this space was created to have fun and, you know, guess about the lore of the project and where the project was going. And, you know, sometimes it led to us getting onto a track that didn't happen. And then we felt like we were let down or, you know, or we were looked at as like fudding it and because it didn't happen. And I don't think that was ever the case. I know it wasn't ever the case because I minted 21 CIRLs. If you say, look, that was a bottom moment, anybody that was minting then was drunk on CloneX. Yeah, I am. I still am. But this Clonespiracys was also created to, you know, we had that jacket that Jack put together when he was named Cookin', and it's fire, and I can't wait to see that on a clone. And I'm stoked to see this. And in some other chats, I've seen some like Miroslav put some stuff together, and yeah, I wish there was a way to aggregate that stuff more. And I know that's coming, but like the more that we can retweet it and share it, and you know maybe tag those other creators that we know in there, the better. And congrats again to Liv.
What's fun too. So Artifact Creators just put out a 11 tweet thread, maybe 19, one of the two numbers. You know, go check that out too if you haven't, everyone, and like check that stuff out because that's their attempt at trying to, you know, highlight the creators in our ecosystem, which I think is fantastic personally because there's a lot of very talented, very skilled individuals here. And, you know, getting that community movement behind it, that's the entire effort. Like the All for One thing, Tevi, like that's just a community effort. That's, hey, let's blow something up for the fun of it. And it's like that's the kind of impact we can all have for every single creator within our ecosystem that has the courage to release something like that, to release a render, to release a project, a tutorial, whatever content it is that's enhancing and pushing this space forward. We have that opportunity to put that creator on spotlight, which can only help and encourage and enforce and affirm, you know, like the things that creator did. If you vibe with it even a little bit, tap a like because apparently those are pumping the back end of Twitter. Compound, the sir, told me that a like is a very potent way to engage currently. Baron, also,
like,
yeah, one like is very potent. Apparently, it's 30x that of a comment. I think I have that right. Baron, it's our 11-month anniversary on Clonespiracys, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah, that dude.
Crazy.
Boy, it feels like longer than that, brother.
Oh, yeah, it does. You betcha.
Oh, man. Yo, before I forget, because I will forget, happy birthday. But that's not what I was going to forget. We have like the most amazing women collectors in this space. I mean, what Liv is putting out and how like the the ones that I'm seeing in this stage, and it's not like a male female thing, but it really is like this is a male only space. It feels like, and we have got the fire, and I just thank you all so much for riding with us and putting up with us. And I know that you guys are, it's growth by attraction, not promotion, and you guys are, it's attractive stuff that you guys are putting together and the way you carry yourself. So thank you.
Thank you. I echo Baron's sentiment. I appreciate everyone who's actively.
Now go tell your friends to buy a clone so the floor pumps. Okay.
Yeah, female clones only, though.
I was gonna come on and say, Baron, that was so well said, and then you went to that. But I appreciate.
That's like what it is like to be at a meeting with me. Like I'll say something that's like smart or whatever. Or like people are like that made sense, and then I'll just completely throw them off by something that just throws them for a loop and creates the personal touch. And I guess I don't know, Tippy. Maybe I don't like being serious. I don't know.
It's gonna keep me on my
when you guys were talking about all the render stuff, I had to drop out for a minute. But I'm glad you guys are still pushing that narrative that it isn't as hard as it looks.
It's not actually. What I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna render something real quick, and then I'm gonna throw it in the chat as a sneak peek to what I'm working on, anyways. So give me what we have 18 minutes, Jack, before you hard rug everybody. Yeah, give me 5. I think let me render this real quick.
Rose, did Baron's words move you to action?
It did. I'm like, request speak. No, love the props. I think it's just an inclusive space. So I think hopefully just more and more of us, men and women, are more vocal, more active in general. And I'm hoping that collabs will be a bigger thing across us creators. I think that'll be fun to get some more synergy and alignment.
Yeah.
I think Rose is laying down the law right now.
I freaking love kids. We had baseball practice this afternoon. My son hit like this. I don't know. He doesn't think he likes sports, and he hit this freaking he got contact with it for the first time. And it was like awesome to see. It's like when Animus reveals.
Baron, if your son doesn't like sports, maybe he really likes 3D rendering and creative design.
He loves building in Roblox. He's like so hooked on Pokemon right now. So, yeah, I've been showing him this stuff, and he'll be on it. He's 7 right now, so he's basically there.
Dude, wasn't Samuel doing some crazy things at age 13? I mean, you set your mind to it, you can make it happen.
Yeah, I'm sending his application into Kuro. Kuro's going to hire him for his army. I'm kidding.
That would be an interesting first.
Yeah, he'd have to be a little bit older.
Yeah, a lot older, I think, to understand Kuro.
Tevi's going to send his kids to Kuro.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that that's necessarily going to happen, but they might learn something about, just different personalities and how do you stay composed and, realize that the world is made up of a bunch of different people. So maybe I will send my kids to Kuro.
Dude, he's got knowledge beyond knowledge. Oh God! See, you can get lost in where if you let me lead a conversation.
Well, I'm actually wondering if Rose sent her kids to Kuro because she dropped off of speaker, probably go manage some stuff. So Kuro is the general of children is really what I'm picking up here.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you watched any of the Murakami stuff?
I mean, I saw some stuff on Instagram, but it's in Japanese, and I wish I could speak it because yeah, you're right. Like every day almost, he's been dropping stuff. I'm like, man, I don't know what he's saying, but I wish I did.
Sometimes look in the comments sometimes, and then you can translate those, or sometimes they'll pop up in English. But today the comment said artist submissions by the 9th for the event on the 29th. So,
I mean, can you imagine like if what you said is on point, right? Like, and I hope you're right. Like, what if some of the artists that they are onboarding, like the top 5 or top 10, get to design what the design for the animus that have the Murakami traits in the collection? Like, how epic would that be, right? Because you get a new age, new flavor of some of these artists with with the traits and their own spin and interpretation of that. And like whichever of us that ends up getting one of those, like you're getting like the next generation of artists, right? So I don't know, that would be pretty cool. I feel like that would be pretty epic.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm stoked. And then on Murakami's roadmap, underneath like the animus looking creatures that he makes, it says celebrity. So I think he's like, in all of it's just him being an artist. So it could mean nothing, but to me that means like he's gonna make his little characters celebrities. And maybe he didn't know how, and maybe because I think like that's what he was thinking he was gonna do through that jellyfish movie. And so anybody who hasn't seen that, definitely watch that. But yeah, I'm just stoked to have him on board, and his stuff is just really cool and fits so perfectly with, I think the vibe that this project's going for. Kind of that, I hate calling it Pokemon vibe, but the Animus vibe. Um, and then when you put those clones into like what Deep was doing with those clones, Tevi, they look like anime characters. I mean, I know
Yeah.
they're supposed to be, but dude, it's wild.
Yeah, that was pretty, like, he's been going off, like, so since he picked up, the AI stuff, like he's just been cranking him out. Like it looks really good. So like I sent him mine, so I can't wait to see what they come out like. And I guess another thing that I wish I had, more time in the day to like dive into like, hey, what does AI art look like and what you can do with it. I feel like with the right prompts, like you can really take 2D to the next level. And Deep is definitely showcasing that, right? And I think a few other people have done it. But really liking what he's doing with, going the anime route, with DBZ inspiration on a lot of these stuff. So I think it's really cool.
How's that for a pregnant pause?
9 months.
Baron, you said something earlier, and I was going to respond to that, but I forgot what it was. I was excited about it, though. It'll probably come back to me. Not anytime soon.
No.
Probably not. Yeah, so I guess that's kind of what I got in that sense of, talking about the community, talking about the Pokemon Animus space last Friday. We, TLDR, we want Artifact to go their own route and, keep pushing this dream forward instead of limiting themselves to Pokemon, which is probably a crazy statement, but think about it, because They are going above and beyond where anyone has gone before. This is the actual edge of creation and technology joining with art and culture, and we are pushing it forward as we speak, even if it feels brutally slow. It's actually not. This is lightning speed. Tevi has given us a sneak peek, everybody. I'm going to go watch that, or I'm going to look at it, one of the two.
Yeah, it's not animated yet. This is just one quick render.
Dude, nice. You got your pod and you got your art on the wall.
Yeah, I got Rose's GN cover in there because I really love it. I got L's render of my Murakami drip in there too, which I love that. But anyways, yeah. So, and I throw back to my old clone, which I still love. It's gone, but never forgotten. So he's there too. But yeah, that's just one frame or one shot, I guess. I guess it's probably a good time. Part of what I'm working on right now is to kind of help promote the giveaway that I have going on. So when the animation drops, that's kind of like the theme around that will be that giveaway. So, but yeah, that's just one of the, figured I would do a quick render, throw it on here because it's not that bad. It's not that hard once you have things figured out. So Baron, I know you've got stuff that you do. Keep doing it.
Dude, that's cool. It's crazy how quick you did that. Yeah, I mean, we got all the stuff, It's people just have to realize it. I mean, these things, nothing's trading on true functionality or utility or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? So we'll get there.
It is interesting. If you look at offerings currently compared to other offerings out there, and it's like, yeah, there's a reason Unreal takes forever to build within. There's a reason quality takes time. There's a reason we have IP rights, somewhat, mostly for the most part. We have to go through approval, but like we still have them. But it's also Nike backing the original assets and the team behind these assets that we all chose to collect. So it's a balanced approach. This is like this feels like the project to me anyway that will be here for a long time. Hence, 11 months of spaces on this topic and only this topic. We are the artifact ecosystem think tank, the theory hub, the people who see the unseen. And that really is the core of how this whole thing started. Baron, you kind of hit that on the head. Like, we're here to have fun. We're here to talk about the things that could be and linking it to one piece of evidence that actually is, so that we have, the information that's out there. We can repackage it, reshape it, form it, to see really what each of us thinks this ecosystem could become, because we all have unique and different perspectives on this thing we call life. And spending our time together in this ecosystem and like trying to figure it out together is a fun thing to do, to stay entertained, stay involved, remain active, kind of in the effort, and also like learn what's going on, learn what you can do with your files, learn what you can do with these different things that we collect. So like that really is the core of it. And I know we've gotten a little bit away from that initial dream and that initial energy, but it is an interesting, reflection point, I guess, at this point in time, based on where we were 1 year ago today. Just all of us, just as a space and as a whole, is a very different time. But it's like so many unseen things occurred over the last year, and like now we are where we are now, but it's like there's still a future of things that we don't know how it's going to happen, how it's going to go. But what we do know is we have 3D files, we have free programs that we can interact with them on. We have the ability to learn digital art and to gain a new respect, really, for the people that have actually pushed this medium of art to the degree that they have. And it's like we can rally around that, and support each other, support the creators, support the builders, support the people that really get us to where we actually are going. Because I think without that, then you kind of lose that spark of creativity, that spark of fun, that piece of culture that actually like winds us and weaves us into the tapestry on the wall, fam, not the rug on the floor that people walk on. Weaves the tapestry in the museum, somewhere out in an ecosystem that had a planet that blew up, and we are all just kind of floating through space right now, which if that isn't uh, reflective, I don't really know what is. So I think the moral here is we enjoy what we have, we dream about what can become, and we also learn and educate ourselves on what we currently have. Kind of that whole past, present, future mentality is my thoughts.
That was beautiful. I thought you were going to rug us. That's why I didn't say anything. And then I realized, we have 3 minutes.
Tevy, you should start just DMing Jack Angels. Like, here, I think you should get this one. This one looks like a good price. You should get this one.
You know what? I just might, but I think we'll start with some Angel Air Force Ones. That I think we got to take baby steps.
No way, dude. You have a much better chance of him getting a 3D asset. He's like, no. He's got some drip coming. He's got some drip coming. He's got a brother that's got a shit ton of drip coming too, so he knows he can pick his pocket. Been doing it his whole life. They support each other. Yeah, exactly. Jack's like, fuck, right? Yeah. When was the last time, Baron? That relationship's the other way around.
Yep. One day it'll go the other way, but that's okay. We do what we can to support those we care about.
We're getting him. He's now the intern.
Yeah, I asked him how his follow-up task was going, and he looked at me like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Baron was supposed to tell you to do something. So I don't know how we correct that, but...
I failed.
Yeah, kid doesn't know his job is all I can say to the intern.
I do remember what I was supposed to ask him. I'll text him.
No, it's good. He knows it's coming at this point because I brought it up on Friday. Sorry, Saturday. Anyway, yep, that's probably what I got, guys. I don't know if y'all got anything on the artifact ecosystem, theories, questions, thoughts, hopes, dreams. If not, we run it back Friday. We run it back next Monday, and we continue until we figure out what's happening, which we'll figure out that. When we figure it out, we'll figure it out when